What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be giving you a used car market update. We're going to be talking about why can't dealers sell cars. Now, we're right in the middle of tax season. This is when we should be balling out of control, and just like we thought, sales have slowed down dramatically. We're going to go into the video, explain why, how this is happening, how you can negotiate better prices using this information, and the biggest thing is, when are the prices going to start dropping back down? Because they've been continually dropping for the last year and a half, but during the last month and a half, prices have gone up 3% every single month. But hopefully we're going to go to a downturn, but I'm going to explain that later. But before I get into the video, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm, it helps you find more amazing people like yourselves and enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing if you enjoy the video and you enjoy automotive content. It awfully means a lot. And once again, follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. Let's get in the video. So I've been watching the news lately and I see over and over again how people are talking about how prices are back on the rise, that the used car market is not falling, it's going back up. But they have been talking about the demand. Even though, like I said, a lot of dealers right now are trying to fill up their lots to get ready for tax season. The next 3 months are supposed to be our Christmas when we make all of our money, but it's actually backfiring. I've talked to numerous banks, numerous dealerships in different states, as well as consumers, and there's one thing that's blatantly clear. The demand is simply just not there. So even though dealers are going to the auctions right now, and I'm running my cars just as well, like I said, this is what I do for a living. I go buy cars, I clean them up, I take them to the auction, I wholesale them to dealers that usually tend to pay way too much for them. And one thing that I've noticed is cars are going way over MMR. MMR is like a vehicle value, like Kelley Blue Book, what us dealers use to put a price value on a vehicle. MMR has jumped over 18% in the last 45 days, which is absolutely insane. Now, the reason why I want to bring up this is because a lot of dealers have this bad problem with only paying MMR, and they are basically tunnel blind. They're monkeys looking at a phone. What I mean by this, dealers, you can vouch for this. Regular consumers, watch this. As a car goes by the auction, let me grab one of my beautiful cars here. This car runs through the auction. It has a sticker on it telling you the year, make, and model of the car. People scan it. When they scan it with their phones, it gives us what's called MMR pricing, what we should be paying for the car. Now, dealers like myself, I take multiple things in the factor. I look at Kelley Blue Book, wholesale, retail, multiple things, and then I come up with an adequate value. 99% of the knuckleheads that are at the auction will scan it. Oh, it says $35,000, and they just bid their hand and raise it. And so now all these numbers are officially inflated and people are bidding more and more for cars that are simply not worth it. Now, why is this a big factor and why am I talking about this? Is because guess who puts the price for MMR? Is Manheim, which is Cox Automotive. So every time they get into a dire strait where they need to move more cars and move more units, it always seems that MMR magically trickles up for some reason. Now, I know the demand for cars during tax time is usually pretty big because people get bigger down payments, they're ready to buy, and this is kind of the season when people just do those kinds of things. But the downfall is, I talked to numerous banks and they're talking about getting 30% less credit applications than what they did last year. Some of them are all the way up to 60% less, which is insane. So that's just letting us know that, like I said, the market is definitely cooling down and it's definitely slowing down. Now, the big question to ask yourself is, well, if dealers are still overpaying at the auction and banks are not financing as much because the demand is not there, then why are they charging all this money for cars? And that is a great question. This is where we're getting to this point where this was the last push for people to sell their overpriced inventory. And instead of winging down prices, getting rid of it, and taking small losses, a lot of dealers doubled down. They went overpriced. They bought new cars, way overbooked. They're still trying to sell their overpriced inventory. And that's why you're seeing all across the United States, and I've seen on several news things that you guys send me, of dealerships, lots filling up, but not selling cars. Why is this? I get messages every day. Hey, I've been negotiating on this car. It's been on Car Gurus for over 200 days. The dealer will not go down $1. Probably because the dealer is upside down so much in the car, they can't afford to lose that much money. Now, I know that sounds stupid, but that's the way some of these dealers think. Instead of just walking away, letting it go down $1,002 and just letting the car go, they would rather hold firm and pray to God that there's some knucklehead's going to come in and buy this vehicle. Now, sad to say, for every 10 of you guys that say it's overpriced, I don't want it, there's always one idiot that walks in there and buys the car for overpriced. And then this gives the dealers the mindset of, well, I can still overpay because this guy still had that FOMO, that fear of missing out. So they're able to capitalize on it and make him pay extra for it. But one of the things that dealers are having big problems with now are people don't have the big down payments what they thought from their tax returns. Now they're basically scrambling money together to buy their new, G-Wagon, and they need $20,000 down, but their tax return is maybe $8,000. Customers can't afford it. Banks don't want to take that big of a risk on a new car that's very expensive because luxury car prices are dropping dramatically. What should they do? They have no choice but to pretty much walk away from the deal. And a lot of dealers are having this big problem with lowering prices. This is why I keep going over and over about how prices are eventually going to go down, because dealers have no other choice. Now, right now, tax season, like I said, is this last push to get a lot of their overpriced inventory out. Now, a lot of these dealers have these lines of credit, which are called flooring lines. Next Gear Capital, AFC Finance, and right now, they're going to be running audits on their books because MMR is higher than what it was 45 days ago. So a lot of the dealers look good because their overpriced inventory is hopefully creeping up just a little bit so they're not too far upside down. Once tax season's over, this is when the reaper is going to come. This is when all the bad news, all the smiles, all this cheerful stuff is going to hit the ground. And what's going to happen is they're going to look at these dealers, and let's say they have $1 million worth of cars on their lot. They're going to run a book on that and say, okay, what is the current values of this portfolio? And they're going to run it. And let's say it's $1 million, but now they ran it, it's only maybe $800,000. So they're going to have two options. One, they encourage the dealers to sell their overpriced inventory. And that's what they're going to do as the market keeps slowing down. They're going to tell them to push it. Second thing they're going to do is if they feel uncomfortable, they don't trust the dealer enough, they, in their rights, have an option to ask for $200,000 to pay down the deficit so the books can be balanced. And this is something that a lot of dealers can't afford because after tax season, remember, some of these dealers are already maxed out and they're still buying cars and still overpaying for God knows why, because they're knuckleheads and they're hoping that tax season is going to bail them out. Now, if tax season does bail them out and they sell a few cars, fantastic. I don't want nobody to go out of business. But there's going to be a lot of knuckleheads that will refuse to lower prices, buy more cars, and be upside down. And when they get hit with that $200,000, $300,000 disparity in their actual portfolio, when the bank says, hey, you know what, the vehicles are not really worth what they were, 60 days ago or 90 days ago when you bought them, we need to get paid. We need to make our money now. And the thing with AFC and Next Gear, they have the right to literally force you to pay. And if you don't pay, they show up with 10, 15 tow trucks, block your actual parking lot, and snatch all the cars off your lot. And you have no choice but to comply and give up your cars. Now, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of this happen in the last few weeks here in Las Vegas. There's a lot of dealers that are buying really overpriced cars that they can't afford, they can't sell just to look cool to impress a bunch of asshole dealers that they don't like. Now, this is really bad, I know, in LA and Miami as well. So I'm talking to some of you guys right now. Don't be stupid. Don't be wanting to show off and buy all these G-Wagon, Mercedes, and Cadillacs for your friends. Forget that. Get rid of that overpriced inventory. Buy some cheap, affordable cars. I know buckets are not sexy. Selling cheap cars is not badass, but it makes money. Everybody keeps asking, why do I keep selling cheap cars? Because it makes money. Don't get me wrong. I'll go buy a McLaren or I'll go buy a wrecked Ferrari or something, fix it to make some extra money. But cheap economy cars are every day. It's why McDonald's sells 1,099-cent cheeseburgers every month, is because they know that there's somebody out there that just needs something quick, cheap, easy, and McDonald's supplies it for them for 99 cents. So you could be on the end of trying to get that one big gross, which most of these dealers are. They're trying to rip $10,000, $20,000 on a car, but then they wind up going bankrupt because their holding costs eats up all their profit. Now, how can you, the consumer, take advantage of this? Once again, a lot of these dealers sign up for Car Gurus. Car Gurus is one of the biggest things that forces dealers to lower their prices because it'll tell you that the car's not a good deal. And it'll show you right there on the notes saying how the car actually went down. Now, this is something I challenge you guys to take a look at. Right before tax season, which is about the end of February, beginning of March, you can look at some of the cars and you can see the price went down, but then right around the second, third week of February, they went up like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Why is that? It's because the dealers were planning on people having bigger tax returns. I myself have been currently looking for a car for the last month and a half. I sold my R8 and all my other cars and I want to get a good deal on something. And I've talked to numerous dealers and they refuse to negotiate. I literally lost a Rolls-Royce Wraith deal over $1,800. This guy would not budge a single dollar. And I told him, I know what you bought it for at the auction. I could see it right here in MMR. Why don't you just let this car go? And he refused to. So he raised it back up $3,000, and it's going to sit there for another, I think, probably 2-3 months, and then he's probably going to lose it because whatever he's paying in interest from his flooring line is going to eat up the $1,800 that he would have just basically gave to me and spent and would have broke even or made a few dollars on the vehicle. But that's the way some of these dealers think. They're not thinking rationally. They're thinking, how can I make as much money to get me out of the hole that where I'm at? But the problem is they have tunnel vision. They only see what's in front of them. They don't see what's going around. I've been saying it over and over again. I know I sound like a broken record. Prices are going down. Just because prices went up 2 to 3% in the last 45 days, don't freak out. Don't lose your minds. I promise you, once the tax hype is over, it's going down. You can look at CNN, Fox News, any type of media you want to look at. Tax returns are down 20, 30%, and they're getting lower and lower. So every time somebody gets a check, that data goes in there. I believe that it's going to get really bad. The people are not even getting as much as what they think they're getting. And dealers are still thinking that it's okay. But once the word gets out that most of the tax returns have already been received and they're not buying cars, watch how quick the prices start dropping again. And one of the things that's scaring me a lot is one of the banks that I've talked to, I've been friends with for a number of years, they haven't made the announcement, but they're officially they're going to stop buying paper first time in 30 years. Now, this bank operates in multiple states across the West Coast and East Coast, and they are so afraid because dealers are so upside down in their paper and so upside down in their cars, and customers just can't afford their payments. They would rather, instead of keep adding new loans to try to outrun their debt, they'd rather just hold, wait for about 6 months, and then start purchasing again. Now, when I hear banks wanting to turn away money, that's a scary thing. And it's not just them. I've heard of other banks doing the exact same thing, either cutting down like 25, 35, 50% of what they used to lend. So this way they can offset their books and get better paper. What I mean by better paper, bigger down payments. They're going to lend less amount. So you guys trying to buy this brand new G-Wagon for $200K, that shit's not going to happen unless you got $50,000, $60,000 down. The days of no money down, 170% LTV, and going absolutely nuts is over. But anyways, I would love to hear what's going on in your area, because even though I talk to dealers, I love to hear from regular people as well as consumers, or even if you're a dealership in a small town, I want to hear what's going on in your area, because this helps share information. Now, that's the whole point of this channel, is to be transparent about the automotive industry, and hopefully we can learn something from each other. Now, if your opinion is different from mine, that is okay. We could still be friends, but I would still love to hear about it in the comments section below. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're on our way to 250,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. My goal is to be the biggest automotive, dealer channel by the end of this year. And I think we got another 40,000, 50,000 subs to do it, and then we'll actually get there. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.